you started competing in kickboxing like
92, 93.
Okay. And then how long did you kickbox before you?
I went till 98. And actually it was one of those things. I started kickboxing because a guy, Alfie Alcaraz, a good friend of mine, wrestled at Cal Poly. And I was teaching him how to kick. He used to box with his dad and stuff, and then he wanted to learn how to kick. So I was teaching him karate and stuff when he was there, and then he decided to leave. And he calls me up and he's like, "Hey man, I want to do some karate still. Where should I go?" And he asked me about this place he went. It was a kickboxing place, and I'm like, "Yeah, it sounds good. Let's check it out." And so he wound up doing really well. He became a world champ at 125s kickboxing. And I went out to one of his fights, go watch him fight in Vegas. Oh yeah, cool. I'm gonna watch him fight. So we went to the weigh-in, and his coach and the promoter, Nick One Kick Blomgren, who's a good friend of mine now, but he comes over and he goes, "Hey, Alfie says you're pretty tough. Do you want to fight tomorrow night?" And I just kind of went, "Sure, okay, cool, let's do it." And so I weigh in, and they go, and the commissioner or whoever the guys from the commission goes, "So how many fights do you have?" I'm like, I never kickboxed. I've done other stuff, but they do want to look at Nick and go, "Come on, man," because the guy was 15-0. The guy they're going to put me, it was like the main event guy.
Yeah.
And they're like, he's like, "We're not letting you do this." And Nick was bad, and so they didn't allow it. They didn't allow the fight because it's 0-0 versus 15-0. Side note, I was 3-0 when I knocked him out. So I did that later, but
so you fought the guy
later on, yeah.
So they wouldn't let you fight him. How long after that was the fight?
It really wasn't that far after that, but it was. I'd had 3 fights and they were knockouts, and they'd seen me fight, so they're okay. You're fine.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but so here's the funny thing though. So, right before I went out to go see him in Vegas, my old karate school, who I didn't really do stuff with anymore. That's a long story, but anyway, so they asked me to come in and come back because they had this black belt coming in to spar, and they didn't have anybody. They had a couple of black belts there, but they were worried that, this guy's supposed to be a badass, and they didn't want to lose. It would look bad for their school, you know. So they called me and asked me if I'd come in and spar this guy. And so I came in, and we did point sparring and some wall sparring. We didn't really do full contact stuff, but it was, and I think it took him down a couple times. But after the whole thing's over, they're all going, "Man, yeah, you kicked his ass, you did this, you did that." I'm looking, I'm like, what fight were you guys watching? I'm like, what are you talking about? And I went in the locker room, and he gave me his card, and it said, John Hackleman, world champion kickboxer. I'm like, okay. So I put him like, "Hey, if you ever want to," hey, if you ever want to train again, And for me, like I was 19 years old. I was maybe 20.
He's a world champ.
20. I was like 22 years old, and I hadn't had anybody even come close to getting the best of me in the gym in a long, long, long time. So I was like, man, this guy's good. But so I drive out to Vegas to go watch my buddy fight when this happens. And what Nick says to me after, he goes, "Hey, why don't you go home and train, and I'll put you on the next show," because he saw I was disappointed. I'll put you on the next show. Okay. So I'm driving home. I got my car. I'm like, "Hey, this guy's a kickboxer. He could help me." So I call him up. He said, "Yeah, come on up to the house." So I come up to the house. I drive up on my motorcycle, get up there, and it's up the old pit. And we go up, we walk up these stairs, and he's got this guy, Jesus Sanchez, with him, brings him to watch us train. So we go up into his thing. We go up and train, right? We're up there to train. So we go, he says, let's just warm up with just boxing. Now, I've never just boxed in my life. I did a lot of full contact karate stuff, but I never kickboxed and never boxed in my life. And he's like, "Yeah, we're going to put," so we put, "Hey, let's put boxing gloves, let's go." So I put boxing gloves on. So we start sparring. John was 17-3 as a pro boxer, like 34-4 as a pro kickboxer. Had 200 amateur fights. Was on the all-army boxing team. He proceeded to hand me a beating for 19 straight minutes.
Oh, fuck.
Jesus Sanchez finally had the unofficial time in 19 minutes. He was timing it. And he said, can we stop? I just can't watch this anymore. Can we just train? Can we just not do this anymore? But John was like, man, this guy's tough. Like, because John, and I learned later that John was surprised he didn't knock me down.
So he was just testing your toughness.
I think he's just, when he had people always talk to me about how tough they are and they want to come up and train and spar. We had guys later on do that, come up there and he just watched that left hook, boom.
Sleep
him. I mean, John hits like a truck. So we go down from the thing, walk down, it started raining. I'm about to get on my motorcycle and he's up. You going to come back tomorrow? So, yeah, I'll be back tomorrow. You train tomorrow? Okay, yeah, I'll be back tomorrow. He goes, here, take my push that in the garage. Take my truck. I'm fine. I ride a motorcycle in the rain all the time. No problem. You come back tomorrow? Yeah. Here, throws your keys to a brand new truck. I was up at his house 7 days a week for the next 7 years, probably until we both opened gyms. But
that's badass,
man. It just happened. Like
what's he doing now?
Oh, he runs karate gyms. I think he's kind of phased out of most of the fighting stuff now. He likes just to do the family karate gyms now.
That's cool.
More, but he's
that's pretty cool of him to, he wanted you to come back.
Yeah, and we came back. I kept coming. Yeah, I would come up there all the time. We'd come up there and train and fight. It was awesome. And then the funny thing is, I didn't really realize it after my career. The guy that got me into MMA was Nick One Kick. He actually was going to throw a show at the Orleans Casino in like a ballroom, kickboxing show, but he wanted to put 3 MMA fights on it. But they were open, like old school pancras. We had open hands.
Yeah.
Now, it was supposed to be pancras rules. Then by the time we got there, I showed up, and the commission kept getting more and more nervous because they didn't really know if they wanted to have it, right? So by the time I got there, it turned into you can open hand slap with this part of your hand. You can kick anywhere, like a kickboxing match. And if you go to the ground, it's just wrestling, no hitting. So it was like, really? Like, this isn't what I signed up for, but I'm already here. Let's go. So we're going to do it. So I wound up kicking this guy in the head and knocking him out. And, Lorenzo Neal?
Yeah.
Yeah. Lolo used to come in as a friend of mine. And he's coming in like, man, you need to fight in this UFC stuff. We got to get you in. He come into town and always say, I don't know how to get into it. Like, I'd love to, but I don't know how to get into it. And so I did that fight, and some guy from the side goes, hey, man, you want to fight in the UFC? I said, yeah. And he said, UFC 17. And so I wound up fighting in the UFC. And I was, right before Nick did that, I was actually, my grandma was getting after me about getting a real job because I had a degree in accounting. She wanted to brag that I worked for a big firm to her friends, and she was really on me and I went to John. And I said, John, I don't, I love what we're doing. I'm having a lot of fun, but I can't do this the rest of my life. Are we going to try to make money at this, or are we? Because I can't make $500. I can't bartend and make $500 a fight for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Like if we don't have a goal, I got to really go. I would have never stopped training and fighting, but I have to go. I got to go do something else. And then, but Nick offered me that fight. I'll do the mixed fight, and then I got the UFC, which wasn't. I mean, I got paid $1,000 to show up and be an alternate. But if I'd gotten in the tournament, I would have been $25,000 for winning it. So it was a 4-man tournament. Actually, Dan Henderson won that tournament, but I got a grant, and then I got. It just got me started.
What year was that? What year was that?
98.
God, that's the early.
UFC 17.
That's insane. Man, that's
Then I went from there. We were talking about bare knuckle. We're going to bare knuckle this weekend, but talking about bare knuckle. I went down and fought. My second fight was second real fight was in. Or actually, this is my third if you count the first one, but it was down in Brazil. I fought a guy, Jose Pelejones, down there. Tough guy, but 1 30-minute round, bare knuckle.
that was at the fight. It was just
One 30-minute round, bare knuckle in a boxing ring with a net, but it had a net. If you go back and look at it, it's got a net from the bottom rope to the edge. By the end, I had him in. I think Big John was talking about the other day. At the end of the fight, I had him stuffed under that net, like a fish stuck in a fish net. And I'm just punched him through the net, leaning out the ring, just hammering him. It was funny though. And people are like, why weren't they stopping it? Why did they go? I'm like, I know why, because the referee was his manager.
Oh, they wanted him
because they thought I think he thought if he makes it was almost the end of the fight, and when it was over, they thought they might get a bad. I get dropped. And I think he thought that there's still a shot I'd get robbed, but they were fair, completely fair. I won the fight, so. But it was funny because
30-minute round.
Yeah, it was funny because back then you hear all about things about riots in Brazil and all that stuff about guys going crazy at fights. Really, I think that had to do with the two gyms fighting each other. You know, two different gyms, and then if they're two guys, it's not they don't care that much about me to care about fighting over it.
Right.
But yeah, it was funny because we walked out and I go back to the corner right after we go to the middle, and I look back and I go, hey Nick, why is his manager still in the ring? He goes, I think he's the referee. Just go get him. Okay, we're already here. Let's
It's
go.
crazy the trailblazing that you guys had to do, to get the sport to where it is today.